get to the details now. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has revealed that the police administration is setting up a special unit to deal with new trends of crime in this country. His comments follow the shooting to death of a community policing officer at La Paz last week. Another officer was also injured in that same encounter when two suspected armed robbers opened fire on them upon a request to know why the robbers were using unregistered motorbikes. In an interview with Beatrice Edu, Mr. Derry said the trends in crime have made it incumbent on security agencies to be more innovative. He starts his conversation with Beatrice with condolences to about 20 police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty this year alone.
First of all, let me send my condolences to the affected families for losing loved ones. And we as a government are really very, very, very touched by losing such gallant officers. They all, even in the very trying situation, even the last moments of their lives, none of them has shown a lack of commitment to Ghana and the lack of professionalism. We need to thank them for that. Yes, again, you see, the statistics show that there's 30% less robberies this year, the same period as last year. But again, we have a better coverage of the information, which is quite welcoming to all of us. The unfortunate thing is that we still need to do more for our security personnel. Most organizations don't have vehicles. They haven't been adequately resourced. They don't have guns, adequate guns. And we also have promised, Mr. President has promised that he's going to make sure that we also work on the professionalism. We are not only going to give the equipment, we also need to train the personnel to know how to use the equipment effectively so that we do not have misuse on the part of our security professionals.
So for example, those who died in the line of duty, would you attribute their death to the fact that they didn't have weapons?
Well, the one that happened in the La Paz, they were police who were going on community service, and we do not arm them in that situation because you don't want them to be annihilated from the public, and they were taken by surprise and shot and killed. That's quite tragic. There were other sides like the one in Tema where gangs actually came out to try to resist. The reason being simple. Recent occurrences have shown that the criminals are beginning to use motorbikes, which makes it difficult for you to track them using the cars. So the police also decided that they were going to use motorbikes. So I think that they felt irritated by that new approach. And so in the case of Tema, you know that this was a policeman who had his weapon, was riding and was shot. But we have to commend the speed with which the police reacted. Because within 24 hours, and again, thanks to the cooperation of the public, they had information. Within 24 hours, they smoked out the leader of the gang, wanted to arrest him. Unfortunately, in exchange of fire, he died. Then a few, 1 or 2 weeks later, there was another incident in Kumasi where there was exchange again, and the one that was killed in Kumasi was the man who actually shot this thing. So I think there are challenges because the impunity, the police and the security force are beginning to confront the impunity that we think must stop. Because people think that they can commit crimes and get away with it, and that the rest of us will be intimidated. But Mr. President has shown that we are not going to be intimidated, we're going to fight it. And so some of these are a result of the effort to confront impunity. And even though we've lost them, they are going to be martyrs in the struggle. And we believe that there are signs that we are not losing the battle for security.
Finally, you talked about the La Paz incident. What we are learning from the MP is that the officers actually had unserviceable weapons, the reason they could not confront those robbers immediately.
Well, I would show respect to whoever the MP is, but just to say that the report that I have is that this way we're going on community service and did not. They were surprised by that activity. So that's what I have. And with due respect, I'm sure he also has a source of information, but my information that they didn't have arms. Now, that is not to say that we don't have a problem of arms. We do have. And you realize that recently the Senate Vice President came from China. We talk about using some of the grant there to help the police. The police itself has a transformational agenda that is coming out. The government is committed not only to equipping the police existing forces, but to create special units that will be able to, control or confront the new trends that we're having. So it's a whole holistic thing. But again, we call upon collaboration. And in all this, we mustn't forget the National Peace Council, which has its alternative, approach, which comes to try to promote peace, and all of us work together. And I think that we are doing well. And you yourself, thank you.
Minister Ambrose Derry there. Well, he's also been addressing the press after he swore in 15 members of the governing board of the Small Arms Commission. He admonished the officers to work hard to end the proliferation of illicit weapons in this country.
The Commission has a role to play in coordinating efforts at the fight against the proliferation of illicit arms in Ghana. We are reliably informed that locally made weapons form about 90% of guns used in armed robbery in Ghana. Sadly, efforts by all previous governments to introduce as alternative sources of livelihood to the manufacturers have not yielded the desired results. The strategy also of granting amnesty for those with unregistered arms to have them registered have made very little impact. You may therefore have to delve deep and think outside the box to come out with more sustainable strategies to win this war against illicit arms.
All right, we just lost the Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, Ernest Nogbe, who was supposed to, who we were supposed to engage on this matter because he was one of those that raised the issue about the unserviceable weapons being used by police officers. Now that the Minister for the Interior has well, he could not confirm that. He says information available to him indicates that they had guns that were, of course, functioning. We were supposed to speak to the minister. Well, we do have him now, Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, Ernest Nogbe. Sir, thank you very much for your time here on the polls. If you can hear me, the Interior Minister says that your claim is untrue. Did you really check your facts before saying that the guns that were being used by the police at the time were unserviceable? Hello, Mr. Nogbe, can you hear me?
Yeah, come on.
Yes, I'm saying that the Interior Minister says that your claim that the guns were the gun that was being used by the policeman in La Paz was unserviceable is untrue.
Please, where are you taking from and what's your name?
Sorry, say that again.
I said, where are you talking from and your name?
You're on the pulse on JoyNews TV. Can you hear me, sir?
Then.
Okay, I don't think we have the right person on the telephone line at the moment. Well, let's move on with some other stories now. Well, just so you know, we're just talking about that particular story involving Ambrose Derry, Minister of Interior, who is not confirming claims that the guns being used by the police personnel on duty in La Paz were unserviceable. Unfortunately, we weren't able to speak to the Member of Parliament for Ashaiman who raised that concern in the first place. But like I said...